What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out, and I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. So I had a little bit of a blast from the past a little bit ago. I that actually was listening. I made it through about the first 30 minutes or so of the interview that we did with David Fry and Sean and Sandy Anderson, and I can't remember the fourth guy that was there off the top of my head, but yeah, man, and that's a night, that's a time I will never forget. That was the hardest interview that I had ever done, and the reason why, because, you know, before the interview and all that, you know, there was a bunch of excitement, you know, and then as the interview went on, the reality of the situation just kept weighing on me, and the thought that at any moment, you know, the four people that I'm talking to may not be alive, and it really, and if you listen to the interview, it you can tell it sinks in more and more as it goes on, to the point to where at the, you know, more towards at the end of the interview, I was pretty much begging them to reach out to Ammon Bundy's attorneys to try to come to some kind of agreement, and fortunately that did eventually happen as far as coming to an agreement. And, you know, fortunately, well, I know 3 of the individuals are still with us today. Again, I don't remember who the 4th individual was, but every once in a while, David Fry put something out on his channel. But yeah, that was blast from the past. Had an incredible conversation earlier today. By the way, howdy, Rebel. And that was with Sustenance and Covering, and I think he's given his name out, but I'm not gonna. I'll refer to him as Henry. And I had an incredible conversation with him, and every time I talk to that man, it leaves me wanting more, because he is an incredible individual with an incredible insight of the Word. And, man, was that a really good conversation today. So, he's actually, without knowing it, he inspired me. I'm going to do a video on a particular topic, and it will be named something to the effect of God is not an equal opportunity employer. And it's going to be an interesting video. It's going to be a really interesting video, speaking specifically about God's children. And I'll go one step further and say the 144,000. So I'll be speaking specifically to that topic. And boy, is that going to probably ruffle some feathers and definitely going to shake some nuts out of the tree. So anyway, trying to think if there is anything else. Oh, yeah, there is, actually. The whole reason I was speaking with Sustenance and Covering is because the gentleman that used to help him do his live streams to where they had guests and stuff like that, he had passed away, unfortunately, Al Toledo. And he had, like I say, unfortunately passed away. And Henry would like to get back into doing that kind of stuff, and I would absolutely love to assist him in doing that. So that meant today I was doing some Google Foo and getting down to how is it that people are using OBS in order to have multiple people on a stream. And so I did eventually find out at least how I believe many of them are doing it. And I'm actually working on setting that up now. I'm actually connected to YouTube, and you might have noticed a little extra delay at the beginning of the show. It's because that's the first time I'm connecting in this manner. So I'm actually connected straight through, I use Streamlabs, and I'm connected straight through Streamlabs instead of through the little browser window the way I normally do it here in the back. I normally use a stream key and all of that, and I'm not doing that this time. And the reason why is there is something that I've always wanted to be able to do ever since I've been doing this, And there are channels like that, for instance, in the chat, somebody will say something, and they can, I guess, click on that message, and it comes up on the screen. And I want the ability to do that kind of stuff, and I know it's possible through OBS, and it's possible through, Streamlabs, but I just don't know how. And I still haven't gotten any closer with how to do that. But for the first time and ever, I'm actually connecting directly through Streamlabs, like they recommend and like it's intended. So that's pretty cool. And I've actually got the chat there, but there's no options for me to be able to put anything up on the screen from the chat. So I'll get there one step at a time, they say. But I did figure out how to do the conferencing thing and all of that. Well, I've halfway figured it out. I have to run through it and get it all squared away and working. I think I'm going to be switching. Very likely I'm going to be switching from Streamlabs just to the vanilla OBS, because I really do like that interface better. And Streamlabs, theirs is basically set up to where they pander you for money all the time, in order to have extra features and stuff like that. And we don't have money coming in like that, so I'm not going to put money going out like that. So just the way it is. Anyway, interesting events happening today, and it's a source of frustration for me, because I've been doing this long enough that I know how things unfold, and unfortunately, and I'm speaking to the shooting that happened at Joel Osteen's church today. And I don't, there's a lot of details obviously we haven't had, and I normally will wait a little while before I really speak to anything on this stuff. And a lot of it I am going to wait until more comes out, but it's just a shame, because I can guarantee, I'm willing to make this bet, and I'm not a betting man, but I'm willing to make this bet that child was actually shot from law enforcement. The older gentleman, I think there's probably a fairly good chance that he as well. Howdy, Kevin. I'm going to say that, in my opinion, I think there's a good chance that the older gentleman was probably shot by law enforcement as well. One of my first questions in this is, did this lady even fire a shot? Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that makes a difference. I think if somebody presents a firearm in a house of worship, even with any idea that their intentions are bad, hey, that stupid is as stupid does. Unfortunately, though, we have a different law enforcement today that, and I'm just going to say it, has little to no regard for innocent life. And this has been seen time and time again. One of the prominent times that comes out when I think about this is the situation with the UPS driver, where the UPS truck was hijacked, and they just opened fire on that UPS truck. They knew that there was a hostage in there, and I mean, that was crazy. That was crazy. And then you have the stark contrast of Uvalde and what had happened there. I don't know. I certainly don't have the answers for it, because, because that takes common sense. And while I've got common sense, the notion that you're going to get anybody else necessarily to follow it, and I say anybody else, I'm talking about law enforcement trainers and the law enforcement themselves. It seems like there's a problem with that happy medium, it would seem. That you got to either be one way or the other way. I don't know. It's sad. It truly is sad. I don't know as far as any information on that church incident as to the condition of the child. I know the last I had heard, the child was in critical condition but still alive. But I couldn't tell you for sure. I'm actually going to try to pull it up right now and see. See if there's anything that had came out since. Okay, 12 minutes ago. Let me, here, I'll bring you along for the ride. Says here, a woman wielding a long gun is dead, and the child who accompanied her is in critical condition after she walked into a famous Texas evangelical megachurch on Sunday afternoon in Houston and opened fire. Off-duty law enforcement officers confronted the woman shortly after she entered the massive Lakewood Church building just before 2 p.m. when the church was changing between English and Spanish-speaking services, according to Houston Police Chief Troy Finner. The woman fired okay, so this one does say that she had fired. The woman fired several rounds and indicated she had a bomb before officers fired back, killing her and injuring the 5-year-old boy who was with her. Now they're actually admitting that. Police did not elaborate on the relationship of the boy to the woman. The child was taken to a local children's hospital in critical condition. A 56-year-old man who was attending services also suffered a gunshot wound to the hip, city fire officials said. The incident set off panic inside the cavernous, non-denominational church home to Joel Osteen Global Ministry, which welcomes nearly 45,000 worshipers weekly and broadcasts to more than 100 countries. It is one of the largest megachurches in the nation. Witnesses told local reporters they barricaded themselves inside closets and took cover behind pillars as the shots rang out from what sounded like behind the sanctuary stage. A live stream of the service on YouTube captured the sound of loud bangs coming from behind a speaker in front of the camera giving announcements in Spanish. Law enforcement evacuated businesses in a busy commercial center of Houston as early reports of a second shooter alarmed residents. However, the situation involved just one suspect, Fenner said. A visibly shaken Osteen said during a news conference, I watched that conference. He did not look visibly shaken. In fact, he was smiling and, he was not visibly shaken, not in the least. Anyway, it said that he did not know why such things happen, but was assured that God is in control. And I do have to call him out on that because, well, I can show you in Scripture to where that is not the case. God is not in control of this world right now. I don't get why clergy, church leaders, will constantly say that God is in control. That's not the case. It's just not the case. Hang on, I'm going to type in just a few right here because I got these from Sustenance and Covering earlier. And I, of course, got to pick the wrong one. But that's okay. Because it's still in my thing. Hang on. And I will show you the ones that I'm going to be... Some of the stuff I'm going to be using anyway in that video. I just want KJV. It's not my favorite, but... My favorite's not on here, so... Hang on. Almost there. Trying to indoctrinate me with an IV. I'm just kidding. I'm not that picky. And, of course, I think it was the first one. Because that's the way it always works. Aha! And it was. It was the first one, because that's the way it always works. Okay, so the first bit of scripture that says it is 1 John 5:19, and it says, "And we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness." Okay, and if you were to break that down to, like, say something like the NIV, let me go back down there, because, and I understand why people use things like NIV, I get it. We know that we are children of God, and that the whole world is under the control of the evil one, which is Satan, not God. And I don't understand that. It always gets me. But just to give you a little peek here, the other two that I will be using, James 4:4, "Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of God." And we always talk about, you can't serve two masters, and this speaks directly to that. That's why when I do call out individuals that claim to be in service of the Father, like Baron Dependent, but yet at the same time doing every single thing he can in order just to get more viewership and in order to pump himself up, which is also something that we are not supposed to do. Yeah, you can only serve one master. You cannot serve two. There is no way. There is no way you can serve two. And then 2 Corinthians 4:4, it says, "In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them." Basically, we were having a discussion today about how it's hard to understand for those people that see what's going on. It's kind of hard to understand how so many people can't. It is mind-blowing, and we had brought up just the wickedness that's going on in the world today, whether it be the trans stuff or whether it be, you name it, the idol worship, and it's just like, how can people not see this? There are so many people that take part in it, like they're drinking a glass of water, and I don't know. It's frustrating to me because I don't get how there can be that much of a disconnect. Like I've said many times, especially when it comes to debating people. It's not about who's right or wrong, it's about what is right or wrong. And the same is true for the way we conduct our daily lives. It's not about what we want, it's about doing what is right. And it just seems like that whole thought process seems lost to so many people, and it's hard to understand. Anyway, I would imagine that there'll be more information coming out regarding the shooting in the coming days. I'm not expecting a lot of information. One thing that I don't understand, I get how it's easy to hide, a firearm under a trench coat, but you would think that if somebody had walked into the building with a trench coat and a backpack, you would think that there would have been somebody somewhere that would have immediately intervened. Immediately. It's, as they call it, a mega church, and I would be shocked if they don't have some type of security watching the doors, and actual physical security there watching the doors as people come in. Now, I've never been in anything like that, but wow, I would think that there would be. In fact, the biggest thing I'd probably been in church-wise was one of the broadcast studios for Larry Rice. But that was one of his studios near Jefferson City, Missouri. So, let's see. Sorry, I'm looking over at the chat because I suck at that. Howdy, Steve. It's I tell you, it's crazy. Blue Line Gestapo. Steve, I love it. Oh, man. I gotta have a drink of coffee. Yes, I'm still on coffee because, I don't... Yeah, I need some space from those dreams. I don't know. Probably tomorrow night I'll probably forego the coffee, and what happens happens. So I mean, I feel like in a sense I'm supposed to be having them, and I feel like there's probably going to be some important information. But so far, I've just had nonsense. It seems like, and very unsettling nonsense. Again, not in the direction of what I think's the important information that I need to know, if that makes any sense. And then again, it may not be him that's giving me the dreams either. So, let's see. Actually, this was the article that I had up to discuss that issue with. However, we have already discussed that. I only have 5 other articles brought up, and then, of course, the headlines. Not a ton of stuff tonight. Yeah, like usual on a Sunday night, it's kind of barren. But I do have a feeling, I just got this sneaky suspicion, we are going to have a very, very busy week. So, just is one of those things. And I want to echo something that I have been saying for years now. And I want to re-echo it. I have for the last several years been telling people, you think the weather's crazy now, wait till next year. And every single year since I've been saying that, our weather has gotten increasingly crazy. And, I mean, look at it now. I mean, I could bring up our local weather here. And this is insanity here. Just like the slow load of the webpage. Come on. Load in. Sheesh. What's up with their web server? Acting like mine does. Okay, so here's our 7-day forecast. I don't know about you, but that doesn't look like February to me. I mean, that's insane. We do have a little bit of snow in the forecast for tomorrow, but I mean, geez, look at those high temps. 42, 52, 58, 59. We had like a 70-degree day. That was beautiful. I had the windows open. But I mean, well, 42, I guess tomorrow's is the lowest temperature on that. You know, from there, though, 44 is the lowest. That is insane. My, believe it or not, my biggest row when it comes to this winter is, do you know how bad the pest problem, sorry for peeing in the mic, you know how bad the pest problem is going to be this summer? I mean, you're talking about somebody that did pest control for a few years. Man, it's going to be horrid. The mosquitoes, the fleas, all that kind of stuff. It is going to be horrid. And, of course, everything else, too. Ticks and all that stuff. But here, mainly mosquitoes. And, well, the fleas aren't bad because I put out granules in the yard. So we don't have much of a flea issue. But mosquitoes, I don't know what it is. But the mosquitoes are horrid around here. I mean, they damn near carry you away when you go outside. So I'm not looking forward to that this summer. I need to get me a zapper is what I need. I need a bug light. But it is. When it comes to lights, I've got to buy an LED driver first. So $60 now to be taken care of. I still haven't gotten the decals done. I've been bouncing back from this, that, and the other thing, and I actually spent some time doing leisurely stuff yesterday. Believe it or not, I had actually done a pretty good job with Shabbat yesterday. I'm normally horrible with it, but yesterday I did pretty good. I actually played the game quite a bit. I beat 2 missions and started on a 3rd mission, which, holy cow, is it going to be? It's intense, but it's fun. I enjoy it. VTOL VR is the game that I've been playing, and it is just, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and I didn't do any of the multiplayer over the last couple of days. I just, believe it or not, the multiplayer is lame to me. I like the missions because they're pretty intense, and multiplayer, it seems like you get a lot of young kids and stuff like that there, and it's, I don't know, maybe I just haven't found the right servers yet. But other than that, more coffee. I love coffee. And I don't know what it's been this past week, but I have been eating a lot. I mean, I normally eat 1 meal a day, and that's pretty much all I can do. And I'm good with that. I mean, that's what it feels my body wants. Man, this past week, I've been getting up, and I'll start my coffee. Next thing you know, I'm making eggs for Jen and I, and then Blue gets the plates. And then, then making supper. We have an early supper. I still have the early supper from when we were still doing the show a little bit earlier. So I still normally start supper anywhere between, I'll say, 11 and 1. And so we have an early supper, and then typically we got leftovers or something in the fridge that we can snack on later on in the day when we get hungry. But that's usually not the case for me. I don't usually have a breakfast, and I really don't usually snack later on. I just normally eat at whatever time that, I get dinner done. I call it dinner even though it's around lunchtime. And that's it. And that's all I eat. But this past week, I have been pigging out. And I don't know what's up with that. But I can actually tell that I'm gaining a little bit of weight. So it's probably a good thing because I'm awful small. Anyway, other than that, I don't know of anything monumental. I reckon I can do some news and some headlines and got this. Oh yeah, the other thing. Let's see. Global warming, yeah. Well, and that's the interesting thing too. I keep telling people it's not. Yeah, we are seeing warmer temperatures. We are getting, record-setting, at least for our civilization, record-setting temperature trends, both directions, though, both in the hot direction and in the cold direction. Although this year it doesn't seem like we're getting much on the cold direction. And again, expect to see it get even more wacky. It's going to get really wacky before it's all said and done with. So, now I know Ben Davison speaks to, and I forget exactly what he calls it, but some type of a lightning that's going to be just absolutely nuts. And like I've been telling people, there will be a time, in most of our lifetimes anyway, in which we look up and pretty much anywhere on the planet you're going to see northern lights. And when I say that, I don't mean like when we get a pretty severe solar storm and, once in a while some of the, say, the lower states of the United States will see a little bit of a light show. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about a full-on aurora borealis around the entire planet. And I will say this, you see that happening, it's time to get underground. And that is no joke. Ben Davison, Suspicious Observers, is the one to follow on that. He goes into great detail and does a really good job with it. So, let's see. Oh, I was going to mention Tucker Carlson. That was an interesting interview. That was a really interesting interview. Link Ray, you what? Huh? What song are you talking about? I'm looking up in the chat because I have no idea what you mean. I hear you, Steve. No doubt about that. Are you talking to me about a song? Did you talk about a song? Oh, okay. Do you need Ben's link? Do you need my KMOB4 notification? No, just kidding. I saw fire and I saw rain. No, you don't want me to sing, man. You don't want me to sing. Anyway, I'll do the news because that way I won't get knocked off stage. What? Oh, do you want the link to suspicious observers? Is that what you're wanting? I will get that. 1 second, let me scroll. He had a video he put out this afternoon, so I won't have to scroll too far. There's Mr. Sustenance and Covering. I love that guy. He's awesome. Let's see. Dang it, man. I know he put one out this evening. That's okay. I'll go catch it from his morning. There it is. Copy link address. There you be. Suspicious Incredible channel with incredible information, and I would say that it's imperative for people to pay attention to what he says. I will say that. Without listening to what he has to say, without taking at least a fair amount of the precautions that he warns about, people ain't got a chance. People ain't got a chance. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you can't say something like that today, and most people take it to heart. And when the time comes that people actually do realize that effery is afoot, it's going to be too late. And the information won't be able to be gotten at that point in time, because I doubt there'll be a such thing as internet. There won't be a such thing as power. So that's why it's important to gather as much information as possible now. Let's see. Oh, you want sustenance. Are you talking about sustenance's link? You want him? Ah, I got that. Hang on. Do. It's easier just for me to look through my daily videos. There we go. I used to, and I'll be honest, I still do, call him the crazy guy in the woods. But I do it out of complete love, because he is just so incredible. There you go. That what you're talking about? Sustenance's link? Let's see. Link went back. Let's see. Let me get that. There we go. Had to find the right window. Okay. Oh, and here, let me put this thing up on top again so I can see. Alright. Prepare for conflict with Russia in 5 years, says German general. And we've been hearing this nonsense from many in the West. I don't get it. And, I want to say that I'm not just going to believe anything I hear, and when I'm speaking especially in reference to the Tucker Carlson interview with Putin. But I have been saying the entire time that I didn't see that Putin was interested in anything other than Ukraine. And I watched that interview in its entirety, and I do think that Putin was being pretty honest in it. I'm still kind of lost at why he had to give the big history lesson in the beginning. Because that, I guess he was trying to lay the framework for his case, so to speak, but I think he'd have been better off spending that time just answering questions and talking to Tucker, but maybe he felt that was important, and as I think I did speak to this, I think that at the same time I'm saying these things, I only speak for myself and my opinion and my thoughts and my position, and the whole reason for that history lesson may have not had nothing to do with the American people. It could have even had to do with Russian people, or maybe there was a particular audience that he was trying to target with that. But that ain't me. I'm not real big into history. I'm just not. Especially Russian history, because that's not, I don't live there. Anyway, this here said Germany should beef up its military to prepare for a potential conflict with Russia. Already on him. In 5 years' time, Bundeswehr General Carsten Breuer has argued. He called for a change in mentality within German society, insisting that the nation needs to build credible deterrence. In an interview with Welt am Sonntag, published on Sunday, Breuer warned that Germany does not have endless time to become more capable, claiming that the possibility of a military confrontation with Moscow is at its highest since the end of the Cold War. If I follow the analyst and see what military threat potential comes from Russia, then it means 5 to 8 years of preparation time for us, he predicted. And to me, this is just nonsense. And it just doesn't make any sense at why they are coming up with that kind of a time frame for conflict. I don't get it. I do not get it at all. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Not in an honest way. I think that there's other plans afoot. This is interesting, though, to watch unfold. Farmers bring Poland to standstill. Says here traffic in cities and towns across Poland was severely obstructed on Friday as farmers staged protests over what they consider to be unfair competition from cheap Ukrainian produce, as well as the EU's green policies. And, by the way, it has a lot more to do with the EU's green policies. Over the past few months, Polish agricultural workers have also repeatedly blocked the border with Ukraine. The month of January saw similar demonstrations in other EU nations, including Germany, France, and the Netherlands, over Brussels' climate policies, which have led to fuel price hikes. German farmers have been demanding that Chancellor Olaf Scholz reverse the proposed scrapping of a diesel fuel subsidy worth as much as €3,000 annually. The authorities in neighboring France withdrew plans to cut similar subsidies after farmers blocked a major highway near Paris last month. Organized by the Solidarity Trade Union, Friday's protest affected around 260 localities across Poland, with thousands of farmers blocking or slowing down traffic with tractors and other heavy machinery. They also blocked several border crossings with Ukraine. Several highways leading to the capital, Warsaw, was congested as a result of the demonstration, local police reported. In a statement released ahead of the protest last week, Solidarity said it was planning to set up roadblocks until March 10. The trade union called out the Polish government for readily accepting the EU's guidelines on the import of agricultural produce and food products from Ukraine. The protesters also called the position adopted by Brussels at the latest EU summit unacceptable. Similar rallies were held across Poland in January. A separate protest by another group of farmers and truckers blocking a key border crossing with Ukraine saw Prime Minister Donald Tusk's government capitulate to the protesters' demands, which included reinstating a permit system for Ukrainian truckers, adopting government subsidies for Polish corn, and a moratorium on tax hikes. Last Thursday, the European Commission proposed extending the suspension of customs duties on agricultural goods from Ukraine and Moldova through 2025. The measure was originally scheduled to expire this year. Thousands of farmers from across the bloc descended on Brussels ahead of the summit, throwing eggs, rocks, and fireworks at the EU Parliament building and setting huge piles of manure on fire. Because there is nothing like getting people's attention with flaming piles of dung. Let's see. I hear ya. Kevin, I am actually going to be setting up for being able to get people in just the regular shows like this. That's kind of what Sustenance and Covering was needing to learn to do. And so I am going to learn how to do it so that I can assist him, but also so that I can do it myself without having... That's why I thought was so cool about doing the VR thing, because it made it so easy for me to do that. And it's easy to do it this other way too. I hate learning new software. That's an issue that I have. And I've actually got about halfway figured out. So I got to do some more. I got to do some more learning. I'll probably be doing that over the next couple of days, and hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be able to do shows and have guests and stuff like that. Just with folks using a browser, just kind of like I did with the VR, but I'll be doing it with OBS. So now that I know that I can get in to YouTube this way and stream, that's half the battle. So the rest of it will be pretty simple from here, I believe. Coffee. Let me see. You might be able to do it on phone. I'll see what I can find out. The plugin, I'm calling it a plugin, is, oops. Wait, was that the one? Okay, that's the one I covered. Here it is right here. Video.ninja. Ninja. So, this is what I'm going to be using. Video.ninja. And we'll see if we can get it to work correctly. So, remote screen share into OBS, add your camera to OBS. I'll just have to dig in and find it. But I'll figure out a way. I will definitely figure out a way. Alright, get out of here. Get off the screen, you ugly. Oh, sorry. I saw Hillary and it's like, oh gosh. You know? What's it? Is that a drone? RT tours secretive former Ukrainian medical research lab. Oh, sure thing. Let me find it. There it is. I will give you 2 links. 2 links for the price of 1. That's video.ninja. And then the other one that talks a little bit about how to set stuff up. I don't even remember what website it is, but here is the linkage. There you go. All right. I said that. The Russian city of Mariupol was a test bed for large-scale medical research on local civilians, while under Ukrainian rule, a trove of recently discovered documents suggest, and just in case people might think that, oh, a government would never do that to their public, be rest assured that I don't live very far from St. Louis, where the government was spraying radioactive compounds on the citizens of the city, the predominantly poor neighborhoods of the city, just to see what it might do. So, it happens. RT Steve Sweeney visited a disused psychiatric ward in the city, which has been undergoing rapid reconstruction after being incorporated into Russia following a referendum in late 2022. In December of last year, a construction team made a shocking discovery at the disused ward, finding documents as well as medication and medical equipment related to secretive research conducted while the city was part of Ukraine. The experiments took place for years in at least 8 medical facilities across Mariupol, with leading Western biotech corporations allegedly benefiting from them, according to the documents. The documents. We found documents that suggested thousands of people have been involved with the experiments, or in the experiments, with the trials carried out for major pharmaceutical companies including Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Sanofi, GlaxoSmithKline, and others. Blood and other samples were collected and then sent to labs and clinics in Europe and the U.S. for testing, the results which are unknown, Sweeney explained. The research was not only conducted on adults but also on children and babies, the document suggests, as well as being ethically questionable. The experiments on minors likely made the clinical trials illegal, a Russian doctor told RT on condition of anonymity. While it's difficult to track all the participants of the experiments, waitresses are now coming forward with their testimonies about the research. A local man whose mother took part in the trials claimed the research was not safe. My mother got sick. They gave her drugs. I asked her what medication she was taking, but she didn't give me a clear answer. She said the drugs were simply given from a white box. Her condition worsened over the course of a month, and then she died, the man told Sweeney. So, pretty crazy stuff. Copy. Good stuff. So good. I love it. I would drink it all the time if I could afford to. Let's see. I thought this was hilarious. A banking giant tells staff to cut back on booze, says Bloomberg. Now, you might think it's because the cost involved and stuff like that. Oh no, it's better than that. It's actually the behavior involved, which is classic. And I don't know if this reflects on the Secret Service, but the CIA. I don't know if the CIA can still get hookers and blow down in Mexico or not. I don't know if this has any bearings on that. U.S. banking giant Citicorp has warned employees to drink less alcohol at client events following complaints of disorderly behavior, Bloomberg reported this week, citing sources in the company. According to the report, according to the report, analysts and managing directors in the bank's investment division have been receiving reminders from senior management to keep the firm's reputation in mind, good luck with that, and not overindulge when drinking with clients. The memo stopped short of banning alcohol consumption at the bank's events. However, as it is a common practice in business settings and has wide cultural acceptance, sources told the news outlet. Citigroup has so far declined to comment. The multinational announced plans last month to cut up to 20,000 jobs after reporting a steep quarterly loss of $1.8 billion for the last 3 months of 2023. It's worst in 15 years. However, investment banking will reportedly be less affected than other divisions. The restructuring will see the banking giant cut 5,000 jobs before the end of the first quarter this year, reports say. By 2026, when staff reductions are due to be completed, they could cost the banking major as much as $1.8 billion in expenses tied to severance payments, but generate annual savings of $2.5 billion, Citigroup said. Company expects that its overall headcount to eventually decline to 180,000 by 2026 from a high of 240,000 at the beginning of 2023. I'm curious at how many of those jobs AI is going to be cutting out. Because it almost seems like companies are trying to figure out in any place where they can fit AI in. It's crazy what's going on. And I'm just dreading the day that I have to take out my toaster oven because it's trying to assassinate me. You know, I mean... let's see. Yeah, and I'm going to take the risk, and I'm going to read this article. I'm going to take one for the team. No, supposedly, YouTube is kind of cut down on their schlapperoo, so maybe my pee-pee won't be schwecked. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out, huh? Electoral fraud prevented Trump victory in 2020, says a study. Not me, YouTube, a study. Not my study. Hang on, I gotta have nicotine. Candy apple. Yum, yum, yum. Nothing like caramel and a Granny Smith apple. It's good stuff. Or should I say caramel? And actually, that particular flavor of caramel would be more like caramel. Alright. Oh gosh. I just got huffed. That totally wasn't funny. Jeez. Go back to sleep. Mail-in ballot fraud significantly impacted the 2020 U.S. presidential election, handing President Joe Biden his victory, according to a study published by conservative think tank the Heartland Institute on Friday. Had the 2020 election been conducted like every national election has been over the past 2 centuries, wherein the vast majority of voters cast ballots in person rather than by mail, Donald Trump would have almost certainly been reelected, the report stated, citing survey data collected in December. As many as 28.2% of mail-in voters potentially committed some form of fraud, acting in ways that were under most circumstances illegal, the Institute's data suggested. With over 43% of 2020's votes cast by mail, the highest percentage in U.S. history, this alleged fraud significantly impacted the election results. The group's December survey of 1,085 likely voters found that about 1 in 5 mail-in voters may have acted fraudulently. Over a fifth, or 21%, of respondents admitted to filling out ballots for others or voting in a state where they were no longer a permanent resident, while 17% said that they signed ballots for family members without their approval. Another 19% said a friend or family member had filled out their own ballot. After subjecting the data to further statistical analysis, however, Heartland upped the percentage of potentially fraudulent mail-in ballots to 28.2%, adding that mail-in voters disproportionately favored Biden, further skewing the results. Even if the percentage of fraudulent mail-in ballots was as low as 3%, Trump would have won, the think tank, which is known for opposing government regulation, argued, laying out 29 different scenarios with varying degrees of fraud to bolster its case that the Republican incumbent would have triumphed in the absence of fraudulent ballots. The report urged lawmakers to crack down on mail-in voter fraud by requiring in-person voting or, in cases where that was impossible, requiring mail-in vote signatures to be notarized or otherwise authenticated by a trusted third party. If state lawmakers fail to solve this problem, Americans' confidence in the legitimacy of elections in 2024 and beyond will likely decrease, paving the way for chaos and civil unrest, the report stated. Mail-in voting, previously restricted to a small segment of the U.S. population, was opened up to all during the 2020 presidential election due to the COVID-19 pandemic, despite bipartisan concerns about the potential for voter fraud. While the Department of Homeland Security insisted the 2020 election was the most secure in American history, Trump and many of his supporters blamed voter fraud for his loss. Thousands descended on Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021 to protest the certification of Biden's victory in the Electoral College. Clashes between Capitol Police and protesters attempting to enter the Capitol building subsequently triggered the infamous riot for which thousands, including the former president, have been charged. And thank you, RT, for calling it what it... I have a hard time calling it a riot. Even that seems to be a bit of a stretch. But I'll give that. I will give that. But certainly it wasn't no insurrection. That's nonsense. I don't get it. I don't get it. And that's what blows my mind, you know? How mentally disturbed does one have to be to think that the whole Chaz Chop thing that was going on, you know, with Antifa and all of that, and I am not somebody to just beat a red team drum. That's not me. But Chaz and Chop were absolutely a thing. That was very clear, and it absolutely went on for a very long time. There's no disputing that. And that gets deemed mostly peaceful protest while buildings were burning in the background. But yet, largely, the people that went to the Capitol building were staying within the ropes. It was like they were on a tour of the Capitol building. I don't know. It's crazy. And yeah, there were some people in the Capitol building that was committing some tomfoolery. There's no two ways about that. But not the large majority. The large majority just walked through like it was a tour. It's crazy. I don't know. When it comes to this voting thing, I think about it and it's like, okay, it's 2024. We can't come up with a better method to vote? Seriously? I mean, we can't come up with some way to vote in let's say, an electronic manner that we could verify the identity. Well, you know, and I'm not necessarily saying connect it to the vote, because I get the whole point of anonymity with voting. But there has to be a better way. The whole mail-in ballot thing, nah. Just as it stands, no. But I do believe that there could be something that's worked out when it comes to that, but it would involve an official with the election board, if you will, to go and get those votes. Not just willy-nilly getting a piece of paper and putting it in the mail. No, that don't even make any sense. But what does make sense is the mail person goes from home to home to home to home. So why can't either they be drafted into some type of, qualified election official as far as being able to collect, but not being something to where you hand them a piece of paper and they leave with that piece of paper and then whatever happens, happens. No. There's got to be a better way. And even if it meant that the mail person would come to your door to get your vote, and that vote would be, and I'm just throwing out an idea here, that vote would be electronically cast right there in front of you with the little handheld. You know how they got their little handheld computers for delivering packages as it is? Something like that, to where you could see your vote get counted. That, I think we could talk talk about something or work something out. But the way that they did this mail-in voting was a joke. And a 5-year-old could tell you that something was up with that. So, that is what it is. Hang on, I get binging and bonging here. I don't know if it's anything. Oh, yeah, this is really important information. Beyonce says new music, Act 2, will drop in March. So that was something I certainly needed to get out to you as quickly as possible. So hang tight. Your Beyonce album is about done. I care even less about that than I do the stupid Super Bowl. I call it the stupid bowl because, well, I'll leave that alone. I'm almost out of coffee, which means we have to run through headlines. No. Let's see. Oh, yikes, how did I get so far? Oh, this happened. UK military scraps tattoo ban. We've had that kind of incrementally happening in the U.S., if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that in at least some of the branches now, even officers can have tattoos. And that used to be something that was a huge no-no. Germany warns Israel against catastrophe in the making, and they're talking about a major humanitarian crisis if they continue on with their notion of attacking the southern parts of Gaza. Germany spending billions to replace nuclear power. Red Sea crisis not yet having significant impact on global economy, says IMF. You know, the International Monetary, or International Mother, yeah. Let's see. Climate activists attack Monet painting. I mean, paintings' lives matter. What is up with that? No, that don't make any sense to me. What, did I get help for that one? Gosh. It's a tough crowd here. Especially by the one all with their legs propped up on the back of the futon. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest. Let's see. China betting on next generation chip production despite U.S. curbs, says Financial Times. Ukraine could drop us like a dog, says Trump. Really? Thought I was really going to get a huff for that one. Banking giant tells staff to cut back. Oh, I covered that. But hey, it could bear repeating. A U.S. senator blasts Ukraine aid for 4 hours straight. Soaring debt pushing wealthy nations on fiscal death, says economist. Attitude to Ukrainians shifting dramatically in Poland, says survey. Moscow warns of diamond ban's impact on Belgium. Yeah, I mean, the waffles aren't going to be nearly as good now. German industry moving abroad, says Bild. Well, yeah, because the cost of doing business in Germany right now is through the roof, especially when it comes to the energy costs. Moscow feared Carlson would face persecution, says Kremlin. And by the way, what the heck was that? Let's see. Prepare for conflict. Oh, I covered that. Ukraine should be a buffer zone, or a buffer zone, depending on which way you swing, says EU states PM. Farmers bring Poland to... Oh, cover that one. And that one. Ukraine must accept new reality, says Kremlin. West's image, authority, and unity at stake, says Ukraine's security chief. NATO chief condemns Trump remarks. Pentagon chief in hospital due to emergent bladder issue. So apparently he's still having complications. But hey, at least this time, people know. RT tours secretive former Ukrainian... Oh, I covered that one. Musk denies providing Starlink to Russia. And that's it. That is it. One of these years, I really need to change this image on our Twitter. It still says Monday through Friday, 5 to 8 p.m. I need to get on that. I don't know, it's only been years. Part of social media, and, well, it is what it is. Oh, man. Well, I am going to boogie on out of here and get some rest, I hope. And I hope you all can do the same. I appreciate everybody coming. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. Hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.